What's good? It's your favorite investor, and this is the channel where I break down my weekly stock market analysis each and every week. And today we will be talking about this past week. That was a wild week. We got some interesting news, we got some weird comments, so we gonna get into that. And basically, I mean, listen, we finished the week and we ended up back on the same spot, so you should know something's coming, right? We're probably in a little consolidation phase, but we gonna break that down in this video. We gonna talk about what to expect in markets this week. We gonna talk about some upcoming news that you guys should be paying attention to, and I will be giving you guys some plays that I will be watching this week. Aside from that, I'm also going to show you guys a play that I entered this week. I'm going to show you how and why I entered this trade, what I was looking at when I entered the trade, so that y'all can replicate this. Now, before I give y'all all the juice and I show y'all the watch list and my predictions and all that good stuff, please make sure y'all go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe for more future financial content. As y'all do that, it helps keep me motivated to keep on putting out more content. And always be sure to not use any of the advice on this channel as a recommendation. All views are my own, and information on this channel are for educational and information purposes only. This is not financial advice and should not substitute for financial advice from a professional. Let's work our way back to the charts though. I want to show you guys SPY really quick. I'm gonna bring my drawings back up. And I'm gonna show you guys, this was Monday. I'm sorry, this is the weekly chart, right? So right now we're looking at the weekly chart. Last week we closed here at 390. This week we opened up at around 390 and we pushed up all the way up to about 403, 402. I don't know if you guys have been paying attention, but in my shorts I spoke about this key 380 level, right? I told you guys this 380 level, when we dropped in markets last a few weeks back, this 380 zone was going to be key. We had to keep holding that up. We ended up doing that all of last week, and this week we continued the rally, we continued to push, and right now we ended up closing the week at 395. I told you guys we might end up getting up to 402, but a little rally before we got the Fed rate hike interest decision, right? We ended up getting the 0.25%, and after that we had some weird comments that ended up shaking the markets, and that's what led to that huge downturn on Wednesday. It wasn't necessarily that we increased by 0.25%. It was the comments by Yellen and by Jerome Powell that were said that basically spooked markets. For whatever reason, we ended up brushing that off in the next 2 days, and now we continue to basically push up. So the market is pretty much in this little zone right here that we don't know what it's going to end up doing. This upcoming week, I would expect for us to get some kind of clarification, right? I expect for us to either get some kind of news or something that's going to either push the markets up or down, so that we can figure out what's going to do. So right now we're waiting on that key moment for us to say, all right, cool, this is where we're going. What I do know right now is we have two topside rejections, and you guys can see the downwards trend line that we in. So as of right now, we are in a downtrend if you guys haven't been paying attention. Now let's go back and look at some of the news that we have coming up this week. Right, this week we have one of the Fed speakers on Monday after close. So this is something that you might want to pay attention to see what comments he makes. You can go on Seeking Alpha, Market Watch, whatever you want, anywhere you get your news. Make sure y'all are going and paying attention to that. Then on Tuesday we do have a data dump from 8:30 to 10 a.m. with the biggest thing being, I believe, probably the home price index and U.S. consumer confidence. So we'll see. We'll get some insight on that. That might move the markets a little bit. We also have pending U.S. home sales on Wednesday. We have GDP second revision on Thursday and jobless claims. That should be pretty important because we know the Fed has been wanting to see the job market loosen up, basically not be as tight, aka people lose their jobs. So obviously we want to see this number shoot up, basically, if we are to see, you know, if we're following Jerome Powell's plan. So then on Friday we have the PCE index. This is going to be a big day. I would expect next Friday to be a pretty big day. PCE is always a pretty major mover. We get core PCE, and we have a couple of Fed speakers in the later afternoon and at 10 p.m. So expect Friday to be an insanely volatile day. Make sure you guys are paying attention to that. Now, one of the things that I do want to show you guys though, let's take this over to the QQQ, because I was talking about this in one of my shorts as well. I told you guys that we see this huge, what I would call supply zone here, right? I'm expecting sellers to be in this part of the market. We've bounced off here before, bounced off here, bounced off here. We've bounced off before here in basically early February. That was our top in early February. And now we've just hit it twice again. This is a very interesting spot. You guys see how I'm set up here, but if we break and close above this area, if we break and close above 314, I was saying 311 this whole time was resistance. If we break and close above 314, I do expect us to make a run to 324. If we don't, then I can see it's coming back down to 290. The reason that I'm kind of, I was actually expecting us to get another close below, like somewhere down around here. But getting this candle here, this strength up to the top side is kind of, I don't know, it's kind of spooking me out a little bit. Something to definitely pay attention to. So let's look at some of the other components that make up the QQQ. Let's go look at Apple. Same thing here, right? I was saying that 157 was pretty much your resistance. We ended up breaking clear past that, and I don't see any other resistance until about 163. You can even say you might not see it until 175. This market has been super irrational. So really what I'm trying to say to you guys is be able to think on a dime, be able to change, have your exits, have your entries, and make sure you know when you want to get in and get out. This market is moving insanely fast, and I think you guys have to pay attention to what's going on. Now, let's also look at Microsoft, right? These are the two major players here. Microsoft, I believe, is hitting resistance at 280. But again, you can see this. We might be able to get a nice little run up to 292. So a couple of things, like I said, man, make sure you guys are paying attention. I wouldn't go all in on going short this market just yet because it may flip and you will be taking quite a significant loss. Now let's move on to some of my plays, right? I do like Carnival Cruise Lines right now. I have played this many times in the past. You guys can see some of my setups here. I believe we're entering another demand zone. I think there's a lot of buyers that are sitting here. Again, the thing that's spooking me out is these two rejection candles, but they're not happening at key resistance levels. When I look left, I don't really see this to be key resistance. Unless you want to say in here, it might continue to chop around. But I do think that it breaks clear past that. You guys see how I'm pretty much set up, and I think that we can make a run up to $11. We also have news on Carnival Cruise Lines this week. So make sure that if you guys are looking for earnings plays, Carnival Cruise Lines is definitely on there. I think the setup is really nice. So make sure you guys are paying attention to that. We also have Micron, Lululemon, Robinhood, and a couple others. So let's check this out really quick. We have Pfizer's German vaccine partner BioNTech is also going to have some earnings. So we've got Carnival, we've got Micron, we've got Lulu, Robinhood, Canoe. Yeah, pretty much the only ones that I'll probably play are Carnival and Lululemon. Let's take a look at Lululemon's chart really quick, because I was in a setup here. I actually did take this trade earlier last week. Like I said, I was expecting a small rally as we got that interest rate decision, because basically, as if we're not getting any news, the market will usually tend to rally, right? At this point, we're expecting bad news. So if we don't get bad news, then the market's going up. At least that's the way I've been seeing it. So I knew we weren't getting any bad news within those last 2 days because we were pending those interest rate decisions. We ended up continuing this rally, making a nice strong move into this support zone here. I don't really like to set up too much at Lululemon. I believe that we have to make it, like if earnings comes in good and we break past the zone, then I'll jump in and look for this gap fill up around 396. So that is another thing that I am watching this week. I do like Lulu and I do like CCL. As promised, I wanted to tell you guys about this Lab D. This is the 3x biotech share that I was playing this week. I saw weakness in the market earlier, and I took this trade on the 5-minute chart. So I want to show you guys this setup here. I saw that 2116 was our support zone on a higher time frame. When we look at the 2-hour chart, you guys can see 2116 rejection, 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 rejection. So I knew that 2116 was a pretty significant zone. Now, looking at this back on the 5-minute candle, which is usually where I place most of my day trades, I see a nice little downtrend here, and I see this gap fill that we have here, right? So basically, I'm targeting that gap fill here. I'm looking for us to make that move back up. Soon as I see my moving averages cross over, nice bullish engulfing candle setup. I have one over here, another one over here. I knew immediately this was a trade that I'm taking to the upside. Basically, coming off that 2116 level, I know that we can start a nice uptrend going in that direction. So that's pretty much the trade that I took this week. What I was looking at was SPY at the time. SPY also was showing weakness. I just want to show you guys on the, this is basically how I usually have my chart set up. I usually have 3 of them side by side. So we'll go SPY on the 5-minute chart as well. And basically when I'm looking at this, you guys can see SPY is starting to break down, right? SPY is starting to break down. So I know that the overall market is starting to show some weakness as it hits this top side rejection. And you guys can see here, by the time I took that trade, it's basically bouncing off of those highs and starting to make its way down. So this is when I took that trade. I wrote it all the way down. I really liked this setup when I took it. I knew the market was showing some weakness, and I knew that biotechs are usually the plays where people tend to flee from them first as they're trying to get away from these high risk plays and into safety plays. So it was a pretty easy trade for me in terms of what I was seeing, but this was how I took it. And like I said, really just understanding where my key levels were, and where, you know, what the direction what the direction was that we were in, and where the market was as well. So one last thing I want to show you guys. I've been telling you guys all about utilities. This week we finally got that nice bounce off of the 63 zone. We've been chopping around it for a while. Stop loss should have really been a little bit bigger. I'm still in my XLU's plays. I do like my utility plays. I believe that this candle right here is tremendous strength, and I do not foresee us continuing our downwards trend. I do see us breaking out of here and continuing into 70. So keep an eye out for XLU. I do like utilities plays. Make sure y'all are paying attention to what's going on in the markets, because things are flipping on a dime. But anyways, man, it's your boy Mr. World Shoe. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. That is all I have for you guys today. I'll catch y'all on the next one, man, and always protect the capital.